What's going on, everybody? Super excited for you today. Nate Fancher, none other than your marketing mentor, on today's episode. He's going to blow you guys away with what he's got. The inventor of Famejacking, the book that has taken people from zero to thousands of followers with success. He is on our podcast today, so tune in because he's going to drop some bombs of value on you guys. Can't wait. What's going on, everybody? I'm sitting here with Mr. Nate Fancher, none other than your marketing mentor. Thanks for tuning in, you guys, and thank you for hopping on today, Mr. Nate. How you doing today?
Doing great, Raymond. I appreciate you having me on the show, man. I'm excited to talk with you today.
Awesome. So just a little bit of background information. Nate has a profile on Instagram that's killing the game. He went from 0 followers to 79,000 followers in about 7 months, and he's helping a lot of people grow their following organically through Instagram as well as other things. So before we get into all that, if we can give us a little bit of background information about, where you're from, what did you do before you started getting into social media and all that good stuff?
Yeah, man. I appreciate you having me on the podcast, Raymond. It's one of my favorite things is just to meet new people, and talk about the things that I love to talk about, marketing and social media, things like that. So yeah, man. So my story is, not too impressive, just to be honest. I was born and raised in Arkansas, so I'm an Arkansas boy. And my thing for a long, long time was music. I was born and raised in a musical family, and in our church, we did a lot of music. And my dad was the worship music pastor at that church. Nice. Volunteered. It was a little bitty church, and we just loved music. And so I started playing music, writing songs, and doing things, and got real into the creative world of music. And then eventually started a band. And after high school, I was like, you know what, Mom and Dad, I'm not going to college. I'm moving to Nashville, Tennessee to be a rocker. That's what I wanted to do. So I moved to Nashville at about 19 years old, and got into the music business. I started in the music publishing business, doing writing, and also on the business side, learning a lot of different things about the music industry. And so in that time, I started to just learn more about marketing, and that kind of got me into the world that I'm in now. So.
Wow. That's awesome. So you still play. I see the guitar in the background, so you obviously still play.
Yes, I do. I still play. Now, the ones on the wall, as I was telling you before the recording, they're not my choice guitars. They're more like just kind of wall art,
Yeah, that's awesome. So you started marketing in the music space. How did that get you over to like the social media time? Like when all that time was happening, like where was social media at with the birth of Facebook and Instagram, and how did that kind of draw you into taking like your marketing expertise to that?
Yeah, well, so when I moved to Nashville, that was in 1999 or 2000. So there was no Facebook, there was no Instagram, there was nothing like that. And it wasn't long after that, probably 2002, 2003, that MySpace came on the scene. Somewhere in there. And so MySpace was like, wow, what's this MySpace thing? And so musicians and bands were using MySpace like crazy. We actually did the band that I was playing with at the time, we had a lot of success just using MySpace. Nice. And just connecting, just that direct connection with fans was the big deal. And, we didn't have to use the record label and all that to connect with our fans. And there was no middleman. We had a direct connection with our fans. And so that was really special to us. And, but also at that time, I was also really into writing just blog posts. And so social media, before it was social media as we know it today, it could be said that blogging was kind of a form of social media, because you create your content and then people interact with it and they leave comments. And that was incredibly satisfying to me. I loved creating content through just writing awesome little helpful blog posts, And so WordPress was around like 2002. And so I started to get into that, and I had a blog, and then just as the whole digital universe started to kind of blow up at that time, everything's just moving so fast. And I ended up eventually growing an email list through my blog. I did a podcast where I interviewed songwriters and musicians who were in the music business, and we talked mainly about music, songwriting, and then because of that process, I had to learn how to do marketing for that. Right. And so as I began to learn about that, I was like, man, marketing is a wonderful thing if it's done the right way. And so I just loved it. And then I started to get introduced with people in the marketing space, guys that you and I would know, like John Lee Dumas of Entrepreneur on Fire, and
Right.
Pat Flynn over at the Smart Passive Income blog.
Wow.
These guys were starting blogs, and just with the way Google worked back then, it was so easy to just be on the top of page one really easily for different keywords. And so that was awesome. So that's kind of how I got into, and then social media started to come on, Facebook, of course, and then Instagram, 2008, 2009, 2007, I forget what it was, but, and I got into that stuff right away, but just, it was much more social. I really didn't learn the value of social media marketing, quite honestly, until last year. So, because I've done marketing a different way than social media. I can explain all that if you want, but yeah.
So in your podcast, you're doing podcasts and you're interviewing like musicians, and that's kind of how you started creating your list, correct?
That's right. And man, listen, I didn't have an autoresponder at that time. I think MailChimp was just kind of starting to come on the scene, but I had a form, and I didn't even have a form. Now that I think about it, it was a weird thing where they got on a list somehow, and maybe it was a Google form or something. It was not a typical opt-in.
Right.
And then I manually added them and emailed them back. I was like interacting with each subscriber, and it was getting a little bit too crazy to manage it. And so yeah.
That's crazy. So before you started, you said, so last year you really started to understand the power of marketing through social media. And I mean, you've been on a tear ever since. I mean, because some people, like, they can't even get to 10,000 followers in a year, using like automation. And I know a lot of the stuff you talked about is using like organic reach and creating organic follows. And for you to go from September of 2018 to April of 2019 and grow 79,000 followers, that's amazing. Like, how did you learn? Like, what did you learn, or how did you learn how to do that specifically? Because that's a huge skill set right there.
Yeah, well, I guess I should back up a little bit and say that I did know a little bit about social media from the standpoint of just how it works. I mean, I got on Instagram in 2007 or whenever it started. I got my own Nate Fancher page. It was like but I didn't quite have a strategy. It was just I connected with the people that knew me personally, and then through some of the music stuff I was doing, it was growing. So, and I still have that profile. I haven't posted a picture or a post on that thing in probably like a year, to be honest. But that's got like 4,000 followers. But like you said, it took forever to get that amount of followers.
Right.
And that's because I didn't have the right understanding of how the platform works. And back then it was so easy. If I knew what I knew now in 2008 or whenever it was that it started, I guarantee you I'd probably have like 5 million followers. I mean, just because of how easy it would have been to do the organic thing back then.
Right.
And I'm not trying to puff myself up here. I'm just saying, like, it is true that there's an easier sort of like season with technology in the beginning. If you can get in on something right early, and you have the first mover advantage, right, as they say.
Right. Yeah.
So if I had known that would have been different. But anyway, so I started to learn about just the way Instagram works as we know it now last year. So around August, I was just looking for ways to get some organic traffic to, and I'll talk about this later, I guess, but to the stuff that I really knew, which was email marketing and sales funnels. So that's a different deal. But I needed free traffic. I wanted to test some of these funnels because buying traffic is expensive if you don't have your stuff tested first.
Correct.
Once you test everything, buying traffic is awesome because you're putting in $1 and taking out $3, right?
Right.
But at that point, I was looking for some free stuff. And so I came across a few pages on Instagram. One of them was All Around Business. And he also owns the page money.focus, I think is what it is.
Okay.
And but All Around Business was started around maybe June, July last year. And he had a little growth highlight thing covering his course of growth over time. And I was like, man, what is going on? This guy is clearly not buying followers because his engagement is high. He's got good engagement. He's got likes and comments like organically.
Right.
And so I just wanted to look into it more. I came across some other people doing the same thing. And so I tested it out on another page that was just a motivational quotes page, to be honest. And I was doing some engagement groups with like Executive Mafia and those types of things. And so I was doing that. And then I realized, okay, I really want to now that I kind of understand some of these things, I need to start like a page that I can really, really get excited about, because motivational quotes is boring. Like everybody sees those. And it's just like, how many times can you keep reposting the same old quote after? They have value, but it's like gone after 2 seconds. Someone's inspired. They're like, okay, double tap. That's it. But anyway, so that's how Your Marketing Mentor got started in September. And so I knew exactly what I needed to do. I had a plan, and then I just executed, and it worked. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing. I mean, how many followers did you get up on the motivational page?
I think it was around, I want to say like 3.5, like almost 4,000. So not very many.
Okay.
And I continued to have that when I started Your Marketing Mentor, but then I ended up selling that page actually.
Oh, wow.
Nice. Yeah, but I learned a lot. That was sort of like a kind of a guinea pig test run thing.
So being that, I know that you said, and this is very key, you said if you can catch technology at the beginning, you have a better advantage, and it's first mover's advantage, right? Like you take the most arrows, but then you get the most like real estate. So being that social media is how it is right now, where like you said, like every page has motivational quotes, and every page has the same motivational quote and the same kind of stuff recycled over and over and over again. What's like one tip that you can give somebody that they could use to kind of stand out from the crowd, or really make a name for themselves in what they're trying to do?
Well, number one is to stand out. I mean, you have to give something that's valuable, obviously, that someone would consider this is valuable, and they haven't seen it before. If they haven't seen it before, then that's obviously going to stand out, because if they're seeing the same thing all the time, and then all of a sudden in their feed are like, "Oh, that's really neat. I haven't seen that." They're going to engage with that, more likely to engage with that. But the second thing, and actually this might even be as important or more, I might even say, is, and this is kind of one of the parts of famejacking that I talk about in my book. You want to show yourself, your sort of your face and your personal brand at some point. I would suggest as soon as possible. Not necessarily on your feed. If we're talking about Instagram, not necessarily on your feed, but through your stories. And just that personal connection with people. And even if it's a personal connection, not through a story, but maybe through a DM response or a like and an actual comment that's really authentic.
Right.
That's going to put you apart, because especially if you're in the business niche, like I am and you are, there's a lot of like automation and people leaving comments that seem like the same comments all the time.
Yeah.
And so if you leave a comment that has like 3 extra sentences, it's like, that's going to set you apart.
Right.
And you're going to look like, oh, that's a real person. But especially on the story side, and kind of what I would say on the back end of the Instagram model, especially, your front end is like your grid and your page, your back end, your stories and your lives and your DMs and all of that.
Right.
So, yeah.
Awesome, man. That's golden nuggets right there. I mean, I know a lot of people, they want to create a personal brand and be all on the front of their Instagram, but it's really hard to attract people when they don't really know who you are, right?
That's right.
I mean, how much value can you give somebody with you just taking different pictures and at a park here or at a mountain here? I mean, the caption could be nice, but like it's kind of hard to build that following so fast. Whereas on the back, and that's what I started doing more on my page, because I read your book, Famejacking. It's amazing. The 16 primers, right?
Yeah.
And it's amazing. So if you guys haven't gotten his book yet, definitely get his book. I'll let him. He's going to talk about how you can get that a little bit later on. But what's like one mistake that you made early on, like with let's say Instagram specifically, like one mistake that you made early on, or maybe not Instagram, but the whole marketing realm with social media. Okay. What's one thing that you know now, if you could have went back and like erased that? What's one thing?
100%. Here's what I would say, and I actually say this in the book too. I'll give you that one, and I'll give you the Instagram one too. So I did that podcast I was talking about where I interviewed songwriters, musicians, and built up a little audience. I did that, and at some point I was like, man, I really need to make some money from this. I was like, I really need to like monetize this.
Right.
So I started to learn, how to make a digital product of your own and do all this. So I put together a course. I did all this work. A lot of work went into this. And then I started to promote it to my email list. And the response I got was really, interesting. I mean, you would see some of these responses and you'd think, man, weren't they your fans? Like, what happened?
Yeah.
People were angry. People were upset that I was all of a sudden selling something. And I think my mistake was I didn't come across as someone who meant business sooner. And what I mean by that in a more practical sense is if you're going to get started online, go ahead and start promoting an affiliate offer. If you don't have your own product, at least start people say, and you'll hear this in my own niche, and even people that I know and respect will say, don't monetize too early.
Right.
I disagree with that. I mean, it's not even about making the sales, because if you have 500 followers, you're probably not going to sell a product or move move the needle very much. But what you will do is you will establish to those who are following you right then, let's say you have 500 followers, you're letting them know that you mean business. Right. And if you do it the right way early on, as soon as possible, they're going to always expect you to have something to promote or to sell. Right. And people understand that if you're in the digital marketing space, if you're doing social media and you are a business, they expect you to sell at some point. Right. And I think the sooner the better, because there are a lot of, basically what happened with me is the podcast that I did there was a lot of value that I just gave. I gave. And of course, Gary Vee, we love him. There's truth in the give thing. I still really believe in that. But do you know the book Jab, 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 Right Hook?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was jab, 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 jab. Right. I never took a swing. And then when I took that swing, I lost a lot of my list. I lost it because they weren't, for lack of a better way to say it, they weren't trained to hear me sell something.
Right. So
I think that what I did with Your Marketing Mentor is I had like 70 followers, and I was already starting to be like, hey, I've got an affiliate offer coming up or whatever it was, and I have some bonuses. Just check it out. And it wasn't like a hard sell. Right. But I was trying to get my audience used to hearing me sell stuff and promote stuff. Right. Because I want them to know that I mean business. It's not just a hobby.
Right. Yeah, definitely. That makes a lot of sense. I read that part in your book, and I was like, wow, that's major, because I know a lot of people like to wait until they have a large following or a large group of people. And it's kind of like out of the left field for them. They're like, what do you mean? Like, I thought you were just passionate about this subject. Now you want to make money off of this? Like, what?
Exactly.
Yeah. That was an aha moment for me when I read that.
Well, hey, my aha moment, unfortunately, it bit me in the butt. It was, I learned the hard way, but yeah, man, it's important because, and even like when you start a podcast, like, or whatever you're doing, you start a YouTube channel, or ultimately you want to be able to say, I guess there are some people who are okay to do it for free because it's like a passion project. But most of the folks who put in all that work to create all that content, they know deep down they want to create an income for themselves, right, and either escape their 9-to-5 job or whatever, or make some side money, And I think that the best way to do that is to sell a product or promote a product as an affiliate, like right away. You know what I mean? So
yeah, for sure. What was the Instagram one for you?
Oh yeah. The Instagram. So with the other page that I was telling you about was called Success Influence. Mm-hmm. I signed up for a thing called Infinicore, and it doesn't exist anymore because they were pretty much shut down. And they were an engagement pod that was fully automated. And it was real pages. So it wasn't like, it was like bots, like the pages that would interact, but you would basically put your username in, and then you would enter into a pod, they would call it, for your size, and they would put you in the same sizes with others relative size as you. And then you would set the number of likes and comments that you'd want to send out and receive.
Oh, wow.
And it was all automatic. So it looked really impressive on my page, and it was actual engagement, but it was so automated that it wasn't natural. And then I think it ultimately hurt my page with that page.
Mm.
And and another one too. I would say this. I mean, I made a lot of mistakes on Instagram. How many? So another one was I did a shout out with a memes page.
Oh, wow.
And I added about 2,000 followers in 2 days.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so, but I started to like lose followers after that. So like the followers of the memes page were not congruent with my content.
Right.
And so, if Instagram sees you're losing a lot of followers, that's no bueno.
Mm-hmm.
No bueno. So
Gotta get the algorithm not to work in your favor, huh?
well, well, I think it's more that like, it's not like Instagram. I don't think it's like this. I don't think it's like Instagram sees like, oh, he's losing followers, so he's not good. I think it's more that the way the algorithm works in general is all about engagement. And if your page is losing followers, then by definition, your engagement's dropping too.
Right.
And so you're not going to be put in front of more people. Your impressions aren't going to go up. They're going down.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So be careful with the shout outs for shout outs. Make sure you're doing it with people that have the same type of content that you have.
I agree. Yep, absolutely.
Got it. What's so let's talk a little bit more about Famejacking. Like that's what you're currently doing right now. That's like one of your main focuses right now, right?
That's right. Yes. So Famejacking is the book that I wrote. It's called The Famejacking Method: 16 Primers to Adding Hundreds of Followers per Day Organically. I forget the subtitle, kind of a long subtitle. It's basically the method that I've used up to this point. And so I have a book for that. And do you want to know more specifically about what Famejacking is? You want to talk about that?
Well, what's the one main thing from the Famejacking method? And then how can they get that book?
Oh, sure. Well, the main thing that I think is valuable from Famejacking for me was I started Your Marketing Mentor, and it was more something that I kind of realized after the fact. I didn't intend to do it this way, but I have a profile pic that has a very distinct logo. It's just a smiley face with 2 M's.
Yeah.
And then all of my posts are just mainly infographics and things like that. I don't show up ever. Nate Fancher never shows up. Not my name, not my face.
Right.
And so the way I call it, the reason I call it Famejacking is that basically you're taking an idea that is already famous, that's already popular, that's an easy follow. I like to always tell people you want your page to be an easy follow. Right. Someone that sees a page that they understand, that they like, that they know who they are. Like if you saw so-and-so buddy of yours and you didn't know they were on Instagram, you saw them, you'd be like, oh, I probably want to follow. So easy follow, right? The same thing with business pages and the kind of stuff that we do. It's like, if it's very clear that you are, let's say you are a basket weaver, I don't know, and you love basket weaving, and then you make a basket weaving niche page. It's a theme page. It's a niche page on Instagram where the content is all about basket weaving. Okay. You don't ever show up. Now you would like to be promoting your personal brand, but you know that people out there who are basket weavers don't really know who you are, but they love basket weaving. So you put yourself in front of those people, and you know it's going to be an easy follow for those people. Then all of a sudden what you do is you hijack that popularity of basket weaving by, on your stories, like I've just said a minute ago, on stories, lives, DMs, you're just like, your face is all over the place. And you're basically hijacking that. So you've grown this audience around a very clear niche, and you know that they're fans of basket weaving. And then when you get on, you're that's the face. And the people really do connect with personal brands. So it's not about I'm against personal branding, because personal branding is really the only way to really make yourself stand out as unique, because there's no other Raymond out there like you. So you're unique, Nate Fancher, no other Nate Fancher, all that. And so that's basically the idea. Now the 16 primers that I call primers are just really, honestly, they're just basic, basic strategies that you really just should have with your social media, your content, how to use hashtags properly, understanding how engagement groups work, and then some business stuff, and how you think about monetizing your page and all of that. It's very important too. So,
wow. Yeah, I read the book, and as soon as I read the book, I was like, I had a like aha, like my paradigm shifted completely, and I was like, this is what I need to do. This
That's
is the way to
awesome.
do it, you
Wow.
know, because I've seen so many like, and I know a lot of them are probably like they've read your book, you know. I've seen so many recent accounts that go from like 0 to 10,000 followers in like half a month and a half, like 7, 8 weeks. And I'm like, you know what? And I noticed they're using that method. And I'm
Mm,
like, wow, you know, they're probably they probably read his book because this
mm.
works and it's very clear. So like, I love it. I recommend 100%. How can somebody get the book?
Well, they just go to famejacking.com and everything's right there. So, and
Awesome.
with the book, at least at the time of this recording, there's an audio version of it. There's also a video training where I kind of go into a few things, and then you get access to a kind of a members area, and then there's a couple of bonuses on some other marketing things as well. That's all included for $7. So
Awesome, awesome. And if you're not following your marketing mentor, definitely follow your marketing mentor on Instagram. That is, I get a lot of like insights from your posts. It's high value, and it's a lot of jabs coming at you. So definitely
yeah,
follow your marketing mentor on Instagram. Nate, I'd highly appreciate you, man. This was an awesome interview. If we can just wrap it up with one final question. For somebody that's maybe looking at social media right now and saying like, I want to really start to find a way to bring my gifts to social media or my expertise, or maybe I don't have an expertise, but I just want to start doing affiliate marketing. I want to make money on social media and they
mm.
haven't done it yet. What's one tip or advice you can give somebody that is looking to do that to start out with making money on social media?
Well, man, so much comes to my mind because it's there's that old quote, like, what's the best way to eat an elephant?
One bite at a time.
That's right. So, like, I have the whole elephant in my brain right now, so I got to figure out what's that first bite for them.
Right. I hear you.
So no, but because the thing about social media is that for me, I have to be totally frank. I like social media. I don't live, breathe, adore, worship social media.
Right.
Worship social media for me is, in fact, it can be a real trap to marketers
Hmm.
because they themselves can get caught up in the dopamine casino effect. I don't know if you've heard of that,
Yeah.
but just the constant refreshing to see if I'm getting more followers, or the constant refreshing, is my post going, is it hitting the explore page, all that kind of stuff. It's
Right.
easy to get sucked into that trap, and then you don't focus on things that really move the needle for your business. So what I would say is this: if you're just getting started, you want to, I would say you got to pick a niche. You got to pick, like, what is your category? Don't be so broad that you just kind of make, whatever. Like business, like a business page. Let's say, I'll just use an example. All Around Business is one. I just mentioned them earlier. Another one, Instant Pay Raise. Uh,
Hmm.
his name's Gabe, and he's a really good guy to get to know. As far as, you might even have him on your podcast. I don't know if you've got a list of
Not
guys,
yet.
but yeah. But anyway, he grew very, very, very fast as well, and his page is in the business niche. Now it's broadly about business. So there's a lot of things, whether it's marketing or just, investing stuff, financial stuff, but there needs to be some focus on something. So I would tell that person, what are you really passionate about? What do you really love? If they're not good at something, I always challenge people. And I say this in my course, because I have another coaching program course too. I always challenge people, look, you think you're not good at something. I bet you are good at something. Like that 18-year-old or whatever who's on Instagram wanting to do this, maybe they're really good at Fortnite. you know, and 35-year-olds are good at Fortnite too, I suppose. But like Fortnite, you could create a whole page around Fortnite and just create content. And as far as what you promote in terms of affiliate marketing and all of that, I don't really know. There's probably products at ClickBank. You can go to ClickBank and you can view what are the products that are available to promote. And they have categories of all kinds, niches, all niches are represented, and you can see what's available to promote. And then just create content on your Instagram page and begin to, in your DMs, if you get some traction there, because if you have a Fortnite page and you've got Fortnite fans following you, obviously you're going to have Fortnite fans, I would hope. they're going to respond to some of your content, and then you respond by, hey, I got this cool course over here that I'm promoting. I don't know, like,
right.
But to start out, you need to have a passion for creating content. I would say that your content has to be something that you love, and you need to be able to focus on it. Because yes, I grew an Instagram page fast, but relatively fast.
Right.
People still want to get like overnight success. I mean,
Right.
it's a grind the first couple of months when you start at zero,
Right.
because you don't feel like you're moving that fast sometimes. But man, I hope that answers your question, because I got so much I got so much I can say about social media. I think the biggest thing I tell anybody, no matter whether they're starting or not, is you need to have a understanding of internet marketing, and especially email marketing. For me, my main strategy with my Instagram page is to take the best followers of my 79,000 followers, take the best ones from there and move them into an email list, particularly a buyer's list if they've bought something from me, and then just pour more value into them and connect with them, and then grow the email list. Because if I had, and I don't, but if I did have 79,000 email subscribers, that would be a very different story than 79,000 Instagram followers. Because you can, if you do email marketing right, you can basically average about $1, even more in some cases, $1 per subscriber every month.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Awesome. Man, that definitely answered the question. And that was a value-packed interview, man. I really, really appreciate that. Nate Fancher, everybody, from Your Marketing Mentor. Remember, hit up famejacking.com. Get the book now. And again, thank you so much, Nate. I really, really appreciate it, man.
Awesome, Raymond. Thank you for having me, man.
For sure, for sure. So there you have it. Hope you guys enjoyed the interview with Your Marketing Mentor. If you're not following Nate yet, make sure you follow him on Instagram at Your Marketing Mentor, and get the Famejacking book at famejacking.com. Again, thanks for you guys tuning in, and wait till the next one, because another one's coming up, and it's going to be packed with more value bombs to drop on you guys. So have a great one, and see you next time.